Hey guys, it's April. Welcome back to my channel. I actually tried filming this intro before I started the challenge, but back then I just got my braces in and I talked really weirdly, so you may or may not have noticed today I'm talking a little bit weird right now. So recently, or more accurately, a few months ago, I bought this sketchbook over here and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start drawing in this, but that day didn't really come. But then I read the book The Wall of Art and it kind of changed my perspectives on things. So it inspired me to start my sketchbook and hence this challenge where I will be drawing in my sketchbook every single day for 10 days. And I will try to step off my comfort zone, try different mediums and experiment, and let's see how it goes. Resistance, the enemy that's stopping us from creating meaningful work. One form of resistance is procrastination. I never told myself that I would never start my sketchbook, but I constantly told myself that I would just start tomorrow. That's why on day one, I had to start. And sometimes, starting can be the most difficult part. Now I'm picking up by the card, the June blows. Yeah, I wanna drown myself inside the juice. I decided to do some simple sketches with pencils because this was a medium that I was comfortable with. I had this certainty inside me. I knew that it was something chill and I could easily erase a mistake, unlike other mediums. And subconsciously, I sat there and drew for 1.5 hours. And halfway it started raining, so the lighting kind of changed. It was a session I really enjoyed because it made me realize how drawing actually felt like, because I've been procrastinating so much on doing it, and it just goes to show that sitting down to start is the hardest part. On day 2, I decided to go with some oil pastels. Oil pastels are a medium that I'm relatively comfortable with. It was something I started using again last year. I remember in primary school, oil pastels are like my holy grail because they were such a pleasure to blend, and you can make really nicely blended sunset skies. They also can cover area pretty quickly and don't require a lot of accuracy. Overall, I was pretty happy with the end results. I think it looks pretty cute and I felt pretty confident after tearing out the washi tape, and I was like, actually this isn't too bad. But for day 3, it was a different story. On day 3, I decided to go into foreign territories, color pencils. I got this huge set of Prismacolors on my 16th birthday in secondary 4 while doing O-level art. And all the art kids will know that Prismacolors are like the Apple of color pencils. And after the art exam, I kind of left them in the cabinet to collect dust. And I kind of felt really guilty about that because it was a gift from my mom. But after that, I started to struggle to replicate the texture and also the shadows. I kind of over-blended a lot of things, and I also struggled to replicate the colors exactly and started panicking. I think I just kind of forgot how to use color pencils and decided to jump into the deep end, which wasn't a great idea. So I decided to take a break and continue later. But at night when I tried to continue, the eyes were just kind of creeping me out, so I just decided to give up. It's okay, I just moved on to day 4. When I flipped over my sketchbook, I could see the failed drawing from the previous day, and I was freaking tempted to just rip out that page or just abandon this entire project and challenge entirely. But then I told myself I would take a step back and went back to a subject that I was familiar with. I just did a few sketches and they felt pretty mediocre, but I'm glad I at least sat down to draw something that day. I knew I wasn't very good with fine liners as they require a lot of precision, and once I make a line there's no turning back. At that point I was feeling pretty dejected, so I just kind of went on autopilot. After I was done and cut the cameras, I still felt pretty unsatisfied with that day, so I decided to go back and add a few final touches, and I think I got a little overboard here. And I think this was like a turning point for me because I realized how freeing it was to just destroy things at random stuff, and I wasn't pressured to follow a reference image exactly. So it was a pretty refreshing day. On day 5, I took out my gigantic box of Prismacolors again, and it was pretty intimidating. I guess before this challenge, my Prismacolors were stuffed at the back of my cabinet, and after that I decided to keep them somewhere more accessible, and it did reduce the resistance to start. But resistance can be in the form of doubt and fear. To be honest, I was pretty scared of using these color pencils again, as dramatic as that sounds, but I knew the only way to get better is to experiment and I guess fail in life. But then today I went for a different art style and tried not to think too much about it, and I ended up really liking it. I always see people do this style of portraits and I never thought I could. I know my rendition wasn't perfect, I could have planned my shadow and highlights colors better, but I'm glad I actually experimented with this style, and it's something I would probably do in the future as well. On day 6, at this point, I was feeling just a little crazy, so I just experimented even more. I pulled out this photo that I took when I was waiting at the traffic light, and I just let my instincts take over. I didn't want to overthink things, and I just went ham with color pencils, highlighters, and brush markers. I didn't know how the different mediums would layer over each other, so I just tried, like how I did on day 4. And as you can see here, the grass patch, it kind of created a nice effect. And I think I made the process of sketching in my sketchbook more freeing, and I didn't worry over the end result being absolutely perfect. And yet again, I am proud of myself for being able to overcome resistance on this day. But then on day 7, I failed to show up. I tried to make time, but things just happened, I could come up with all sorts of excuses and reasons right now, but it really doesn't matter. All that matters is that the next day I continued on and didn't give up. And that's what I did on day 8. I think I was always just a fan of drawing faces. I don't know why, but I never drew bodies. And I guess it goes back to that uncertainty and unfamiliarity. So I decided to sketch some poses with my Prismacolors. I know people spend a lot of time studying anatomy, and it was one aspect I wanted to improve on. On the other hand, sketching is actually really therapeutic. As you can see, I did this at night after a long day of school, and it just winded me down for the night, and I actually enjoyed the process a lot. I love croissants, so I decided to draw them today. In the past few days, I was constantly panicking on what to draw next, but at this point, I just did whatever came to mind. Again, I dabbled with my Prismacolors in hopes of getting better. I just went on Pinterest again and looked for something smaller and more simple. I wanted to replicate the wrinkled texture of the croissants with longer strokes, and I honestly really liked the end results. However, I faced a similar problem in day 3 where I couldn't really replicate the exact colours on the reference image. But I would say the end product is pretty cool, and now I'm craving for a croissant. Day 10, the final day. What am I gonna do today? I have no idea. And I failed again. On day 10, resistance overcame me once again. The drawing that you're watching right now, I actually didn't do it on day 10. I did it a few days after. I felt that I needed to draw or create something that was mind-blowing for a grand finale to this video. But I just constantly came up with excuses for myself. I am not free, I have something else to do, the lighting now is terrible. But the thing is, I guess nothing comes to an end because there's so many pages left in this sketchbook and it goes beyond that. I know the stuff I drew for this video aren't like, museum worthy shit, but I'm still like in the journey of trying to find my style and experiment with different mediums, and I hope to eventually, settle on something. Actually no, because when do we ever settle on anything? The point is, I just want to be improving all the time and never stay stagnant. So yes, that's all I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!